Well, we actually have obtained new movement records, GPS data. Our Jared Eggleston and Skylar Henry down in Mississippi obtained this from a Mississippi entity, and it actually shows exactly where the boat left from when it arrived at Horn Island.
There was a girl on Horn Island on July the 4th. Her name is Katie. For days, nobody covering this case would say that name out loud. Now her family has spoken, and what they say Nolan Wells told her in his final minutes on that island does not match what his friends told the world, not even close. Which version is true? Hold that question. Because before we answer it, you need to see what else changed this week. And almost nobody is connecting it. A state agency handed over GPS data, every movement of that boat time-stamped down to the minute. And the boat did something after it left Horn Island that nobody in the early coverage predicted. It didn't just go home. Then Wednesday happened. Nolan's parents walked into a meeting with the district attorney. When they walked out, 3 things were confirmed. A grand jury will hear this case. The FBI is examining digital evidence, and the phone at the center of everything, will finally be opened. Both sides, same room, same time. That is exactly where this story begins. If you've been following this case, you already know the noise. This video is the signal. Subscribe so you don't miss the next verified update, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from.
We had a very respectful meeting. The thing I assume some of you may know, the thing to announce, she shared with the family that there will be a grand jury that she will turn this case over to once they have collected all the information and finished their investigation.
You know the basics, so let's keep them tight. Nolan Xavier Wells, 18 years old, Ocean Springs, Mississippi, a wide receiver at Southwest Mississippi Community College with a plan for his life. On July the 4th, he boarded a boat with friends and headed to Horn Island, a remote barrier island about 10 miles off the Mississippi coast. No buildings, no facilities, just sand and water. His friends came home that afternoon. Nolan did not. According to attorney Ben Crump's office, he was last seen on the island around 3 in the afternoon. His mother reported him missing that night. A search launched. The Coast Guard, the Department of Marine Resources, the National Park Service. On the morning of July the 6th, a National Park Service agent found his body face down in the water, just off the northwestern tip of the island. Here is the detail that unsettled people from the start. The identification did not come from his family. It came from dental records. Jackson County Coroner Bruce Lind confirmed it. The coroner also noted the swimsuit on the body matched the one in the last known photograph of Nolan that day. The state performed an autopsy on July the 7th. The results have not been released. An official has floated possible drowning. But no cause of death, no manner of death, nothing final. That is the record. Everything else came after. And a lot of what came after was wrong. 2 pieces of viral evidence drove this case for a week. Both of them just collapsed. And the person who collapsed them was inside that friend group. Start with the photo. An image showing Nolan in a pool, surrounded by people, posted to Instagram on July the 5th. Then deleted. The internet did the math instantly, posted July the 5th. Nolan vanished July the 4th. Proof he made it off that island alive. One viral post said exactly that. Proof, they called it. The theory wrote itself. A party on the mainland, an altercation. A body returned to the water. Almost nobody asked the only question that mattered. When was the photo actually taken? Rolling Stone answered it. The photo was taken on June the 27th at 11:58 at night, 8 days before Nolan ever boarded that boat. Not speculation, metadata. Provided to the magazine by an independent source, along with other group photos from the same night, all matching. And a close friend of Nolan's, Traceston Shepard, confirmed the date himself. Shepard didn't attend that party. He'd been working all day and had church the next morning, but he knew exactly who was in that picture. He identified them, including Nolan. He said the friend group had been planning that party well before June the 27th. And the upload? A photo dump. Recent memories posted July the 5th, deleted when the rumors turned ugly, uploaded on the 5th, taken on the 27th. Two very different things. Shepard called the theory unbelievable. He called it heartbreaking. Then the video. Footage from near Horn Island on July the 4th. A voice raised in what sounded like a confrontation. Something about a phone. Crump pointed to it on national television. He said he believed that voice was Nolan's. The person actually in that video came forward. Same friend, Trey Seston Shepard. On Good Morning America, he said it plainly. That's the video. And that's me yelling. He told Rolling Stone the same thing. Those were not Nolan's words, they were his. He said he doesn't believe Nolan even appears in the footage, so set both of those aside. The photo, the video, gone. Here is what's left. And what's left is stranger than what went viral. Start with the machine that can't lie. CBS News obtained GPS data from the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources tracking the boat Nolan took to Horn Island. Read the timestamps slowly. 4:31 in the afternoon. The boat leaves Horn Island and returns to its original departure dock. 5:52. It travels into Fort Bayou. 6:06. Back to the dock. 7:19 that evening. The boat arrives at the Fort Bayou boat launch. And then it does something no one expected. It leaves the water entirely. According to the report, it traveled overland, presumably towed by a vehicle, to the Biloxi residence of the boat's owners. The same report notes the boat's owner, his mother, and one other person who was reportedly with Nolan that day have cooperated with investigators. The tracking ends on July the 5th, when the Jackson County Sheriff's Office took over as lead agency. None of that is theory. That is a state agency's own data, reported by a national network. There's audio now, too. Dispatch audio released this week from a private towing company connected to the boat Nolan's friends used. A caller requesting help. The boat had malfunctioned, and on that recording, the caller confirms it. Everybody on board, everybody accounted for. Except everybody wasn't. And separately, this matters, don't merge the two. The Coast Guard was called that night. CNN reports it was Warren Cole, the son of Jackson County Chancery Judge Ashley Cole, who called the Coast Guard to report Nolan missing. Nolan's own family confirmed that at a news conference. One of the three friends on that trip is the judge's stepson. Remember that name. It comes back. Now the smaller discrepancies, the ones that don't trend, but don't go away either.
We're sinking. Can you all please come?
NBC News has obtained audio as part of a records request that details the group calling for towing assistance.
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
Nolan went to the island in a boat with friends on July 4th. His body was found 2 days later. It's unclear whether Nolan was with anyone when he disappeared.
The police report listed Nolan in black shorts when he disappeared. His mother says a young woman from the island reached out with photos from that very day. Blue shorts. And when the family went to retrieve the keys to Nolan's car, parked in a friend's driveway, they described those encounters as suspicious. That's their characterization. But it's on the record, which brings us back to the girl. Her name is Katie. A member of her family went public on Facebook and confirmed it. Katie was with Nolan on Horn Island that day. Here is the contradiction, exactly as attorney Ben Crump has laid it out. The young woman's account, Nolan was talking with her on the island, and he told her he was going back to get on his friend's boat. The friend's account, Nolan told them he was staying behind, to keep talking to her. Those two statements cannot both be true. One says he was walking toward that boat. The other says he chose not to board it. Katie herself left the island on a different boat, believing, according to her family, that friends telling Nolan to get on the boat would never actually leave without him. She got home. He didn't. And her family says they have given all the answers they can give to Nolan's family and to authorities. Nolan's father has been blunt about which version he believes. His son had too much at stake, he said, a plan. business to handle that Monday. Nobody, he said, will convince him that Nolan chose to stay on an island chasing a girl. Then there's the phone. And here, honesty requires a complication most creators skip. Nolan's best friend, Javon Williams, also on Horn Island that day, told the Biloxi Sun-Herald he last saw Nolan after 4 in the afternoon. And he said something else. Both of them left their phones on the boat. Both. So the argument that no teenager ever leaves his phone behind? It's not airtight. His own best friend did the same thing the same day. But that's not where the phone question ends, because when Nolan went missing, his phone was with his friends, and his mother has alleged that when she recovered it, content she expected to find, she has pointed to Snapchat activity, simply wasn't there. That allegation has not been independently verified. What is verified, by both the family's attorney and the sheriff, is who had the phone and how long it stayed out of investigators' hands. Until Wednesday, July the 15th, Nolan's parents, with attorneys Ben Crump and Eric Hertz, met with Jackson County District Attorney Angel Myers McElrath. Crump called it a respectful meeting. What came out of it moved this case onto new ground. First, the grand jury. The DA's office confirmed that once the sheriff's investigation is complete, this case will be presented to a grand jury. Now, precision matters here, because this is where coverage gets sloppy. The DA's office says convening a grand jury does not mean criminality has been found. In Jackson County, it's standard procedure for most unnatural or suspicious deaths, so no, this is not an indictment. But it does mean every fact investigators gather will be placed before citizens with the power to decide if a crime occurred. Crump's demand was simple. Nothing held back. Nothing overlooked. Second, the phone. Both sides agreed to a mutual inspection. The family's experts and law enforcement's experts examining the same device at the same time. Attorney Eric Hertz is leading the family's team, alongside former law enforcement specialists handling the download, so that, in his words, everybody sees what that phone holds at the same moment.
We did not get all the answers we want. We have an independent investigation going on that involves former law enforcement, federal agents that are going to be looking into all the different information we got.
For the first time since July the 4th, the most important piece of physical evidence in this case and the people investigating it are headed to the same room. Third, the FBI. Sheriff John Ledbetter confirmed the Bureau is helping examine the digital evidence collected so far. He was careful to add context. Horn Island sits on federal land, and his office works with the FBI routinely. But the FBI confirmed something else to ABC News. It is also working to address interstate threats. Threats received by people connected to this case. Because that's the dark turn this story has taken. Tracist Shepard, the friend who came forward, who corrected the record twice, says he and others from that friend group are receiving death threats. It worries me for my friends, he said. It worries me for my family. Judge Ashley Cole, stepmother of one of the 3 teens on that trip, posted publicly about threats against her own family. Think about that. The people the internet convicted have been interviewed by the sheriff. The 3 friends on that boat, all questioned. Some retained attorneys, which is why Crump says he hasn't spoken with them directly. Cooperation, on the record. Threats, also on the record. And the science is still coming. 2 autopsies. The state's results are waiting on toxicology. Outside labs, several weeks, no shortcuts. The family commissioned an independent autopsy in Washington, D.C., born of a distrust Crump named without flinching. This, he said, is the state where Emmett Till was lynched. Those independent results were expected Friday. Canceled flights delayed them. Crump says they'll be released the moment his team has them. 2 examinations, 2 reports, eventually, answers neither side can spin. On Monday, Nolan Wells will be laid to rest at Centerpoint Church in Ocean Springs. Visitation in the morning. Services to follow. Crump says the funeral expenses were paid by Tyler Perry, and his mother, Christine Wansley, asked for 2 things. To anyone planning to gather for Nolan, keep it peaceful, and to a community that has carried her family, thank you. If you can give, give. If you can't, she said, just keep praying. So where does that leave us? With a boat tracked mile by mile, ending in a driveway in Biloxi, with a towing call that says everyone was aboard, when one person wasn't. With black shorts in a report and blue shorts in a photograph. With a girl who says he was coming back, and friends who say he chose to stay. With a phone about to be opened in front of everyone. Here's the truth about this case as it stands tonight. No cause of death has been determined. No manner of death. No charges. No ruling of homicide. The friends have been interviewed and are presumed innocent of any wrongdoing. Full stop. The contradictions in this case are real, but contradictions are questions, not verdicts. Even the family's own attorney, Eric Hertz, put it best. Their job, he said, is to cut through all the noise and find the truth. And the truth needs an unbiased investigation. Keep an open mind, he asked, until we get there. Nolan Wells deserves answers built on what is true, not what went viral. If this video gave you something the noise didn't, share it with someone who's been following this case, like the video, so it reaches more people who want the verified version. Subscribe. Because when the toxicology lands, when that phone is opened, when the grand jury convenes, we will be back with what's confirmed and nothing else. And tell me in the comments, of everything you heard today, which detail do you think investigators need to answer first? We'll see you in the next one.